Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the walk. Today is Friday, May 2nd, and we are up to Ezekiel 45, verse 21. We just saw how the temple was going to be consecrated with the sacrifices and what all the rules and regulations were for that. And we are going to continue on in verse 45, chapter 45. We're going to finish that up today. So in the Cultural Study Bible, there was a note for the rest of this chapter, and this is what it says. In Ezekiel's formulation, Passover takes on a different look than the traditional observance established in Exodus 11 to 12. Originally, Passover was established as a family-oriented festival in which the head of the household served a priestly role, and the home served as the location for the festivities. The related festival of unleavened bread had gradually merged with Passover, as is indicated here as well. In the Passover celebrations carried out by Hezekiah in 2 Chronicles 30 and Josiah in 2 Chronicles 35, there was a more national and centralized aspect of the observance, but that is even more the case in Ezekiel. So what we're going to be seeing here is way back in Exodus, when a Passover was first established, it was very much a family event that was happening in the home, and the head of the household served as the priest. Later in Chronicles, it became more of a national observance. But here in Ezekiel, it's even a more broad scale. It is a more broad of a group that's included within this Passover. So it went from very intimate to now it's going to include an area, a bigger area, and in Ezekiel, it's an even bigger area yet, and that's important to keep in mind. Verse 21, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall celebrate the feast of Passover, and for 7 days unleavened bread shall be eaten. Now in the ESV Fire Study Bible, there was a note, and it says, the 7-day Passover feast was the annual festival held to remind the Hebrew people of how God spared their lives and brought them out of Egyptian slavery. The Exodus, Israel's mass departure from Egypt around 1445 BC, was the most important Old Testament event involving Israel's redemption, i.e. salvation, rescue, liberation, and restoration to God's people. So it's important that we remember that this Passover is carrying all the way through to this millennial kingdom. Verse 22. On that day, the prince shall provide for himself and all the people of the land a young bull for a sin offering. And on the 7 days of the festival, he shall provide as a burnt offering to the Lord 7 young bulls and 7 rams without blemish on each of the 7 days, and a male goat daily for a sin offering. And he shall provide a grain offering, an ephah for each bull, an ephah for each ram, and a hin of oil to each ephah. In the 7th month, on the 15th day of the month, and for 7 days of the feast, he shall make the same provision for sin offerings, burnt offerings, and grain offerings, and for the oil. Now here's what really jumped out at me as I did my research here. We see the number 7 quite a bit. In verse 23, 7 young bulls, 7 rams for 7 days, and a male goat each daily for a sin offering. That's another 7. And he shall provide a grain offering, an ephah for each bull. How many bulls was there? 7. So yes, 7 grain offerings. An ephah for each ram. How many rams were there? There were 7. So that's another 7. And a hin of oil to each ephah. How many ephahs do we have? 7. And in the 7th month, on the 15th day of the month, and for 7 days of the feast, he shall make provision for sin offerings, burnt offerings, grain offerings, and for the oil. That is the number 9. The number 9 means to either turn towards God or turn a different way. It's that point of decision. Then on top of that, we have provision for sin offering, burnt offering, grain offerings, and for the oil. That's the number 4. The number 4 is the number for the door to Jesus. So here we have 7 repeated 9 times, which means which way are you going to turn? Are you going to turn towards God or turn away from God? And if you're turning towards God, you're going to the door. You're going to Jesus. So all of that is right in this, and it's teaching us that we all have these decisions, and sometimes we're making those decisions moment to moment to moment, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't get it right. But the idea is to grow in your faith and your walk with Christ, so you get it right more often than you don't get it right, and you keep turning towards what God has directed you to do. Today is Friday, so I'm going to remind you there's no message Saturday, Sunday. I'll be back with you on Monday. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.